Hi everybody, welcome to my channel for the introduction video of the ETC. So I really wanted to record that before ETC. I have some information about the Swiss selection system that I wanted to share with you. Also talk about my list, especially since I plan to release literally a wave of battle reports starting from the Sunday of ETC. So you will see all the battle report that I've been preparing from my training games. I'm going to release that straight after ETC, so I definitely needed first to talk to you about my list. But first of all, let's talk a bit about, I will talk first about the learnings of last year ETC, then about how does the selection system work in Switzerland, also through my own example, and after that some words about my list, why did I pick this choice in my list, and that's it. I have unfortunately in this video no picture or video of my army because I'm not finished painting yet, so that's also something I really plan to finish before, but I will try to make something on one of my channel, either the French speaking one or this one. I'm planning to do several live during ETC, so I will see what I can do, maybe a video about my army too before the start of round 1 or during a lunch break. I will see what I can do about that, but surely you will be able to see my army finish before, during the ETC. First of all, what was last year learnings for us as Team Switzerland and also for myself? We definitely figured out after we lost heavily to Spain that in comparison to the top team that won ETC, if we want to win it, we need to play more games. That's, I think, the main learning was that we need to play more games. And then derive from that, there are multiple learnings, but also consistency, I think, is a key factor. It's good to play a lot in January, February, but it's more important to play even more in just before ETC, like July, for example, this year. So that was also something we wanted to improve, and also myself, I saw my number of games not being consistent during the year. We had no or very few training against the actual ETC list of other countries, so I felt that was definitely a weakness in comparison to other teams that had a lot of trainings against top teams. Our meta, I think that's one point that's derived from the fact that we didn't play enough, was not the best. I think some of the lists were not the best list, and that's also something when you start with a deficit or handicap in comparison to other teams because you didn't select the best lists possible, then you need to be even better during the event. But definitely starting with a good meta, and I think this year, if we compare our list to last year, we're definitely in a better shape, in a better spot regarding the meta. More knowledge sharing within the team, more work on all armies. It was very diverse how much investment was done on each army, because depending on the players, so we made sure this year that we were able to cover all the armies in a good way. And then we figured out finally that we could take potentially more advantage from coaching. Coaching was mainly, we took someone with us that was helpful during the event, but we didn't do really much preparation. We didn't use a lot the coach when in the list building process, in the training process. And then also during ETC, we didn't prepare enough what we expected from the coach. And I think that's something we could definitely improve to get more from our coaches. And then finally, regarding myself, I felt the pre-ETC period, I didn't arrive in the best possible condition. Basically, I had family vacation just before ETC, so I didn't play like 2 weeks. 2 weeks before ETC, I didn't play any game, and then I had to leave for ETC without recent practice, which meant I was not rusty, but not in the best, in sharp mindset for the first game. With any bad consequences, but still that wasn't my best game. When I speak about control and risk management and so on, that wasn't my best game of the whole tournament. Was probably one of the one that I have a few regrets. So definitely I knew that pre-ETC period is a key period, and fortunately I managed to put the family vacation this year after ETC, which I think is huge because this allows me to play more game before going to ETC. Training, I had a couple of unknown matchups. I didn't train enough against shooty list, especially shooty list that I need to be aggressive against, and also on some secondary like capture the flag. I train a lot like hold the ground, spoil of war, thinking we need action to try out the matchup, but it's also key to try out all the possible configuration. So that's something I really wanted to improve this year. Then now let's talk a bit about the Switzerland system. So we had this year, we implemented after ETC a leading group of 4 people, which consists of Xavier, the captain, Andy, Dim, who is our coach this year, and myself. We had discussion directly after last year ETC. We straight wanted to reorganize stuff and try to put in place several things to achieve our goal, which is try to finally win the ETC. So we set targets, we organized the team, we also follow those targets. We made early on after the yearly update, so in February we had a meeting, the 4 of us together, and made together first meta views, what army we consider as a possible selection, which one we don't consider. Then we followed the training of the various team members, we made sure all books are covered. We gave inputs, motivation to the people. We had a lot of discussion. I think that's one of the main difference between our group of 4 and the rest of the team is just that we discuss almost on a daily basis all year long about teams, armies, lists, etc., etc. So we had a lot of chat to try to improve and put things in place. And we also obviously had a chat straight after ETC with the rest of the team as soon as we had this goals we wanted to implement and this organization with this leading group that we wanted to put in place. We had a chat with the rest of the team to make sure that they approve this process, that it wasn't a one-sided decision. So that was fine for the rest of the team. And then we selected the team. This year was a bit later, but basically we selected the team mainly on result. When I check the 8 players that make ETC Team Switzerland, basically it's the top 9 top result. So there is just one person within the top 9 that was not available for ETC, and the rest is just the top 9 that was selected. So we just made an average of the result in tournament of the individual player of the ETC group, and based on that we had the first ranking. Then we also took the ELO score from new recruit and we put that together, and it was I think the main factor for the team selection. And we also added impression based on ETC Switzerland bootcamps and other trainings. We also added our meta view, which army do we want to bring to ETC and which player could play this army, and then availability is also a huge factor for us. But basically in Switzerland we don't have any qualifier, we don't have team facing each other. We mainly have at the beginning of the year, so just after ETC, a selection who will be the ETC larger group, which is usually between 15 to 20 persons that could be potentially the ETC Team Switzerland. And during the year we make the selection this year in May. Usually we made the selection a bit earlier, it was always February. This year we made that in May. Basically we used WTC as a way to test some players. There were I think 3 players where we had a debate which one we should select, and we tried them during WTC, and we made then our selection based also on that. It was helpful for us to decide which one do we want to bring, and also to test some lists, some armies. And also the fact that we made the selection later put also some pressure on potentially the top players to keep everybody involved, focused and motivated. So that was the approach for this year. To sum it up, what's the path to Team ETC Switzerland? I was able to pick 3 pictures that is part of the patchwork that I have at the end. It's like the end cover picture that I have at the end of my battle reports. That's 3 pictures that illustrate perfectly this path to the Team ETC Switzerland. Through my example, is first to perform in local tournaments, so visibility, play a lot, beat, for example, ETC Switzerland players in local tournament. You need to show your talent and make that visible to everyone. Also at this stage, at some point, declare to the leading group or to the Swiss captain that you are interested into making ETC Switzerland team one day. Then after that, so that's the first picture, was a tournament that I made in Switzerland. That was really for me the first step, is to win some local tournament, to show yourself, basically to show what you can do. Show your talent or your skills. Then the second step is to get invited to the Swiss ETC group. to get invited. For example, here that was a WTC. Back in the day, it was still like a ETC warm-up. So we made the first time we made a podium at this stage, which was really good for us. But it was for me an invitation that I got to participate with the Swiss team to this WTC and to try to impress during this event. And then if you impress, it's step 3. You get invited to ETC team Switzerland. So that's it basically. And then, yeah, like I said, that's the third step, which is at the end of this picture. It's like perform during those big tournament with the team Switzerland to get invited. And after that, you might end up with a medal around your neck if you perform well during the ETC as well. So that was a bit the path to the ETC team, which I think is pretty easy to follow through my example. Basically, it needs commitment, dedication. You need to find a play style and develop it, and then have solid result. I think that's basically it. Let's talk now quickly about my army list. Basically, it's the same concept, same play style on the table as it was the 2 previous year, which is it's a solid list. It's very hard to go through this list. I mean, a lot of wounds, very solid characters, good magic, good range damage, meaning if it's a standoff, it can win against most lists from distance, and it has a lot of tools in the list. So that's the type of list that I've been liking and has been working well for me the past 2-3 years. I made a couple of changes though. The first one, so it's basically the changes are mainly related to the yearly update. What I kept in the list, which is very similar to last year, is basically a Death Star from core. This year I changed from Tribesmen to Bruisers, but it's mainly due to other changes, especially the Great Khan build. I kept the Shooty Mercvets, I kept the 2 monsters for the same reason as last year, and I kept the Shooty BSB. And then also 2 darts, I already had that previous year. And then what I changed is basically I put this tanky Great Khan that I found at the beginning of the year. Really like him a lot. He's also wearing the Binding Scroll, which explains a bit the price, but without the Binding Scroll, as you can see, he's a pretty cheap Great Khan, very, very hard to kill, and he has access to all the weapon, which makes him very versatile. I like that a lot, and in combination with the spell that I have access to, and the Mammoth Cloak, it's very hard to kill him. So I think that was the finding of the beginning of the year that I liked a lot. After that, a magical setup that is very versatile, provide a lot of spell. I think I have a total of 8 spells. 5 spell on the Mini Master. This guy is an adept with 5 spell. And then I have 2 spell on the Apprentice and a spell on the Frost Mammoth. Basically, it provides me with range damage, not the most versatile range damage, but still a very interesting one. I have plenty of combat buff, including the Rod of Battle. That is, I think, very important and very good on high number of attack unit like I have in my list, and the Firebrand, which brings me basically the possibility to have double Fireball plus Swarm of Insect against, which is very strong against War Machine. And also the Breast Weapon is a good way to counter some of the weakness of the Bruisers that are striking last. And also that's why I kitted both my Shaman with Pad Weapon to try to not suffer too much from parry that can be an issue for Bruisers sometimes. Then we have the BSB change just a bit. I just went Ban of Discipline instead of Cult Leader. 2x Ban of Discipline allows me to put those guys a bit wider if I need to. And also I didn't want any panic check to take on the Death Star in key matchup. You know that last year in the final against Spain, I failed this 9 rollable and then the rally check and so on. And it just snowballed to a 20-0 defeat. That was unfortunate to begin with, just because of panic check that can happen at any time. So now I have basically a counter to that in the matchup where it's very shooty. I can always put the BSB in a place that the character is safe. And I'm not risking to lose the match just on that. So that's the BSB. Yeah, here I was able to reduce the number of bruisers since I have 3 characters in the unit. It's still 11 bodies in the unit, so it's still enough. And then I was able to fit the Saber-Tooth Tiger as a unit of 5 non-scoring chaff in core, which I think is very interesting. So I have 2x Tribesmen and Saber-Tooth Tigers as a piece to be chaff and anti-chaff, can be also cheap scoring. So I really like a lot these 3 units. And then I have the new big news for me this year is instead of Tuskers, I decided to bring Mercvets Albert. That was a suggestion that made A Polish team member at WTC told me that could be an interesting choice. I tried the Mercvets before, but not in this setup, and indeed it's a very nice setup. I like the fact that I'm not sensitive at all to alchemy, first of all, and then second of all, I have a lot of wounds. I have also the ability to use more the Frost Mammoth, and they are not so dependent on the charge as Tusker are. Tusker, they depend a lot on the charge. They are very, very good on the charge, but not so good when they are not charging. And here in this case, the Mercvets near the Frost can be very good also when they are not charging, because they have a high number of attack with high strength. I also like a lot the fact that if you compare the price with the Bruisers, I mean, it's crazy how cheap those guys are. So yeah, I was pretty convinced by that. So that's my list, guys. So basically it's similar to what I played in the past year, but I just make it evolve due to the update. I'm very happy with the list. Very happy, very convinced about the choice I make. Also, when I saw the other Ogre Khan list, I think this is also my playstyle. It's the way I like to play. I have a lot of control with this list on the table, and I know exactly which unit should do. So yeah, really happy with the list that I chose for this ETC. Guys, that's all for this intro video. I hope you liked it. I hope it was interesting to follow, also to get some information about the Swiss selection system. And yeah, then talk to you during or after ETC. I don't know exactly what kind of live content I will be doing. I will surely do debriefing live, but in French at the end of each day. And then during ETC, I will also try to do some shorts live. I don't know exactly if it will be French or English. Obviously, I try to do some for the French-speaking community, because I think ETC is well covered and you have plenty of content in English. But if you want to check that out, maybe also have a look at my French-speaking channel, which is MathCD. You should be able to find it also under my nickname or my username on YouTube. The two channels are linked to the same name, so you should be able to find it. And basically on this channel I will also try to do some lives. I will see what I'm able to do, but surely I will try to do some during ETC, because I think it's nice for you who are at home to be able to follow the World Championship of ETC. Guys, yeah, I have high expectation for this year. I think we brought with us two experienced coach in the person of Dim and Thomas, who are both made multiple ETC with us. They have a lot of experience. So to have those two guys helping us will be huge, and definitely we target the best possible placing. We would be really happy to win it. I think it would be a tight year. I think, yeah, big competition between the top team to win it. I'm really curious to see how this will go, but definitely each round will be tough, like every year, and really eager to start. Really eager to be there, to take the fly and be there and start competing against other team. And also, it's also about that. It's the human experience. It's just unbelievable. See all the people from various countries having some chats about stuff, also having some discussion about. I'm always happy to have discussion with people that are following my channel, that can give me feedback about my content and so on. It always is a huge motivation to continue producing so much videos on this channel. Guys, take care. You will see very soon battle reports of my training game, and after that I will follow with ETC battle report. Take care. See you. Bye bye.